In this episode, we examine how Intercom has reinvented the wheel when it comes to personalized communication with clients. Intercom is a communication tool plus email automation plus help center plus shared inbox, all rolled into a single platform. Learn how Leverage uses Intercom to make customized communication with clients simple and easy.
All right, well, let's get started. And if more people join later, they can just catch up. I have a marketing question. You can chat. You can chat in here, and I'll answer questions. But there's going to be focus on topics each week. So today's topic is going to be on Intercom. Next week's topic is going to be on Process Street. We have the head of client success at Process Street presenting with me Process Street and some of the key processes that we use to power Leverage, such as, I don't know if we'll do client success or HR yet. If you guys have a preference, you can post it here in the Q&A and I'll take that into account. So let's get started. Who here has heard of Intercom? Can you try to raise your hand in the webinar? I'm kind of using this as a test for us too with this Zoom webinar. Not me, David Chaddock, Keenan, and John. Cool. So I'll give you let me share my screen and give you guys a quick rundown of what exactly this tool Intercom is. So let's share. Right. So this is Intercom. Now you can go to intercom.io. Actually, they might have changed it to .com by now. Intercom.com, sorry. And you get to this screen. So Intercom has a bunch of functionality, and I could spend hours telling you guys about all the ways that you could use Intercom. So the most common thing that you probably don't even realize is being powered by Intercom is when you go to a website and you see a little chat bubble, and you can chat with customer service representatives on the team. So that is Intercom. And if you go to getleverage.com, sorry, one second. Let me just close my Slack. If you go to getleverage.com, you'll see a little chat bubble. You might have interacted with us in it. This little chat bubble is powered by Intercom. And the cool thing is you can select in Intercom different rules. So for instance, one rule could be do a pop-up, show a video, ask this question after X seconds when you hit the home screen. But then maybe there's a different rule we want. Like if we have like a frequently asked questions screen, maybe we want to wait 30 seconds and maybe it's a different pop-up when that happens. Sorry, guys. Where is that coming from? Let me just mute my... These notifications are annoying. There you go. Sorry about that. So you can have different rules. So like, for instance, you notice nothing popped up here. So I selected that. I can write hi. And now this goes to a shared, essentially, inbox inside Intercom that anyone on my team can respond to. And this is all, again, a setting that you can select. So you can select if someone writes, have some automated message come back. And it's another option to select if you want to get email capture on there. So you can start seeing how, just for lead generation and customer service, how powerful this can be. And you can start multiple conversations to keep it organized for you. So let's just take a look. Does anyone have any questions so far there? Let me try to answer. I hear you. Great. Open. I used the link from last week at first. Yeah, today's process. No, Keenan, today is Intercom. Next week is Process Street. Okay, and you want client success. All right. All right, and welcome to all those people that have joined late. We're covering Intercom right now. So let's just continue. So Intercom's great. It has this chat feature on a website. Now, on the inside of that, what that looks like is you have this shared inbox essentially. And you can see that they give you a fake name. So I'm Amber Rain, and it said, hi. So if I write back to myself, you can send and close. So you can see I'm writing back to myself, yo. And anyone on my team could have picked that up because it was unassigned. You can connect multiple email accounts to this. So not just messages from the chat bubble come into that shared inbox. You can connect your Facebook account. So if someone writes on a Facebook page, it goes in there. You can connect email, even text message. So we've connected our company telephone number to that. That way, if there's two-step authentication required for one of our accounts, it goes to the unassigned in that shared folder. That way, it doesn't have to go to my personal phone and I'm a bottleneck. It'll go in there. That way, anyone can get it. Obviously, certain accounts I don't do that for. So another thing that Intercom has, which is great, is a help center. And we're actually using this now as a company internal wiki. So you can see this is our help center. This is a help center just for, and we still have to build this out, but it's a help center for potential clients that have common questions about the service. So this is our help center for that. But we also are using Intercom for internal purposes and using it as a company wiki. So I believe it's internal.getleverage.com. So you can see here, we have another instance of Intercom, meaning we have two Intercom accounts. So we have one Intercom account for clients, and we have another one just for internal. So we have a chat bubble on our internal dashboard that I've built that allows me to take questions from teammates and push announcements to teammates, but also have a totally separate help center just for the team, because we're constantly changing and improving the way that we operate as a company. So we took a look and investigated a lot of wiki services, and this honestly was the best. You can create what's called collections. So company introduction is a collection, and then you can have various different articles inside of a collection. So for instance, if someone is curious about what the org chart is, you can just click there and click on the org chart and see what the org chart looks like for Leverage. Another thing that is really powerful with this tool is they have something called Intercom Operator. So we can go through, but I'll go through the regular ones first. But Operator basically runs machine learning algorithms and can automatically suggest, based on your help center in Intercom Educate, what the best response is and automatically answer client questions, or if you're using it like us and hacking it as an internal wiki, you can use it for answering employee or contractor questions. So Intercom has a few key products that we'll go through. So Educate was what we just covered, which is this the wiki or the help center. Respond is what I was first showing you up here, where It's managing all of the questions that are coming in, basically like a shared inbox. Yeah, so you can see here, like if an email or a message comes in. So for us, we've done a lot of custom integrations with this. So we have custom messages that come in that we can then take care of. So this is connected to our database. And if someone logs more than, say, 3-hour block of time in one shot, we get a message here that we need to follow up with that person. So then if I want to take care of it, or if I want, say, Florence to take care of it, I can just assign it to Florence. Or if there's nothing to do, we can just close it out. So this becomes super, super powerful. They have an API, and I mentioned this before, but any service that we talk about, Process Street, we're talking about next week, all those services that we recommend, they have to have an API, because it's one thing to know these tools and best practices, which are really important. But if you really want to get the most out of this and really use it to tackle a specific problem in your company, you have to have technical experience, or you have to have access to someone technical to do some custom integration, because it's just not enough to know about the tools. You know, you can hire a consultant to tell you about this and maybe set it up, but I haven't found a case where you don't need some type of custom, and it doesn't have to be super expensive, but when you set this up, it's important that you set it up with that in mind, because there's so much power behind this that you want to set it up knowing about all the potential capabilities of the tool. So let me go back and see what questions we have now. Client success today, yes. Client says, which is better, Troll or Airtables to track time used per task? When you say Troll, you mean Toggle page? Well, this talk is really about Intercom, so I'll save that for later, that question. All right, so let's keep going here. Right, so you have the shared inbox. What's really great too is you have this essentially a CRM. So instead of having to use Close.io or Salesforce or HubSpot, this is a really powerful CRM as well. And you know, if you have hundreds of thousands of people, this isn't for you. But if you have on the order of, say, hundreds, or I would say even low thousands, this is a perfect CRM. This is what we've been using from the beginning. So you can see all of your users, and you can click into them. So I'm going to click into, let's say, Florence. So I can click into Florence, and I can see all the messages that we've interacted together on. I can see various pieces of information. So I can see the last time she came here. I can see when she signed up for the service. And I can see all of these various things. And you can customize this. So I can see that her job title is a manager. Now, if I were to show you on the client side of things how that looks, and I'll try to choose maybe I can choose myself as a client, so I'm not sharing to. So let's say like Tom Wallen, he works for us. So imagine that he's a real client. You can see all the different pieces of data that we have on him. So since he's not a real client, there's no revenue that you see here. So there's no toggle last activity, which is what we use for tracking time. And there's no revenue. But imagine, I don't want to show you real client data, but for all of you on the call that are clients, we have in Intercom, because it's synced with our database, we have all of on your profile, which is synced to our database, we have your revenue, the last time you used the service, how many hours you've purchased, all here. that way, if I want to do an automated message or even a manual message, I can filter to specific audiences and segments inside of Intercom. So I can do a manual message right now, and I can select my audience, which is synced directly with my database. So once that's set up, you don't have to go and ask a developer to create some segment for you. You can do it on the fly. So if I want to say, I want to send a message to anyone in New York, we can say new, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I can then just send a certain email message to that specific audience. And you can do it to visitors, so these are not actual clients, or you can do it to your customers, so that's where it's syncing with customer data. So here, you'll see if I want to send an email to anyone that is on, say, an active plan, or anyone that has done more than $5,000 of revenue. So I can say, all right, give me a filter where there's some revenue. It can be any value, and the total time that we've ever done for the client, or the monthly spend. The client has spent more than $1,000 in the last month. So we can select that. We can then select, do we want it to be sent by email or by app? So we're doing email now, but we're releasing the leverage dashboard in the next month, and Intercom will be installed on the app. So you'll be able to directly communicate with the management team, but also we'll be able to push specific messages to segments through Intercom on your phone. You can then select what the exact message is. So I can say, hi, first name. So it'll personalize it to you. I can write the message there, and you can set it live. And that's a manual message. You can also do the same thing with automated messages. So an example of an automated message is, let's say you download the app. The first time you hit a certain screen, I might send you a push notification. And I'm able to do that because I have all that data in our database. I know how many times you've hit a certain page. I know how much revenue you've done. I know how long you've been a client. So I can take all of these different parameters into account and customize automated messages to you, either through a push notification in the app or through an email. So let me go back and see if anyone has some questions. I just talked for a long time and you couldn't see my screen, and that is because we're doing this through the webinar. So let me just share this again with you. I'm sorry about that. Okay. What I was just sharing with you is something called Intercom Engage. So with Intercom Engage, you can set automated messages. So you can select an audience that you want to send that automated message to. So I can say here, send it to anyone who signed up exactly 1 day ago. Send a message, thank you for signing up. Or you can customize it even more. And what I was saying here is, maybe I want to send you a special message once you hit more than X $1,000 of revenue, for instance. So I can select when total revenue is greater than or is X, or contains, more than, I can say if the revenue has any value and you've done more than 20 hours in Toggle, send you a special message automatically. Now, the message that we're sending out for reminders for these webinars is right here. So you can see right here, we sent you this morning, and don't forget webinar, and you can see we sent it to 431 people. The audience that that was sent to, say more, let's duplicate it so you can see it. Edit. So you can see it's anyone who's done some revenue, who's in this product family, which is the product family inside of Chargeify. See, any questions? Is this specific feature to Intercom or generally available? I'm not an expert at Salesforce, Keenan, to be honest. I'm sure that you can do similar things with Salesforce, but Salesforce is like 10 times the price and complexity. So you can see that we sent that message to anyone that has a valid email, who's done some revenue, who's a VA client, who's active, so subscription status is not canceled. We sent it by email because we don't have the app yet, and we wrote this message. And then you can see the statistics on it that we sent it to 400 and so people, and we had 16% that opened it. It's not horrible. And what I was showing before, where the screen wasn't showing, is you can use this as a CRM, so it syncs with your database. And I have here all clients, all previous clients, etc. And you can click on it and you can see all conversations, all data, and you can make notes. And what's really cool is you can tag people. So what we've done at Leverage is we're doing a lot of automations around tagging in Intercom. So for instance, if I were to tag Tom cancellation request, what's going to happen is we have a Zap and Zap here, which uses that tag as a trigger and connects to Process Street, which we're going to share next week. And it creates a checklist in Process Street, passing all of the information of Tom into the checklist. So we'll have Tom's name, Tom's email, when Tom signed up, how much revenue Tom has done, all in one checklist that will then follow in order to properly cancel his account. So it's a really elegant solution because we have all this data in a database, syncs with Intercom, then Zapier takes that information from Intercom, passes it into a checklist with Process Street, and the person that's doing the offboarding or the canceling in Process Street, they don't have to be involved with Intercom or know what's going on behind the scenes. All they know is that there's this checklist that they have to tick off the boxes, and all the information is provided automatically. So you have some initial setup, but then after it's set up, you're good to go. So you can see in Zapier, just so that you can visualize it a bit, we can take this as an example. So client cancellation. So this is the tag I just did on Tom. But when there's a new tag and the tag is cancellation request, it does some stuff with Trello, but ultimately what it does is it creates a checklist in a client cancellations template, and we pass all of the information necessary to properly cancel that client's account. So let me pause here and answer some questions. So that's a good question. So Intercom's not super cheap. So they charge per service that you use. So that Educate, that help center, that's one service that costs maybe $50 a month. The chat bubble that you see that aggregates into like a shared email, that's another thing that's called Intercom Response. And then the little rocket ship icon that I was sharing with you for the manual and automated messages, that's that's called Intercom Engage. That's another service. So depending on what you need, and then they have different levels that you need, like if you use it a lot or a little. So I think we pay somewhere on the order of $250 a month per account, because we have one account for client facing and we have one because we use it for internal. That way, think of it like this. If you use it for internal, which is kind of something unique to us, if we change a company policy, we can blast that to everyone. I can even know if someone read that message, so I'm aware of where in the learning process everyone is. So if someone didn't read a message, I can then resend it to them. Or if someone became a VA only in the last, say, month, maybe I only want to share with them some updates from things that happened before they joined the VA service. So we pay about $250 a month, but it's easily worth 10 times what we pay for it. That is one of our core tools, along with Slack and Process Street and Zapier. Does anyone else have any questions? No? Let's see. One call-in listener. Okay, well, I'll stick around if you guys don't have any other questions at this time. This way. Got a little sunny over here. Okay, Keenan, what are your questions? Here, Keenan, I'm going to make you a panelist so you can ask questions. Hey, I can't hear you, actually.
Sorry, take mute off. I couldn't type that fast. That's why I was like, it was.
No worries. This is my first week using the webinar feature of Zoom, so excuse the hiccups on the call, but
no worries. I guess I'm going through this process now with. I'm on my 4th VA.
Yep.
The CRM. They've got passed on 3 times. The essence of what I've went through Salesforce videos. I've went through Intercom, the little demonstration videos. They've given me a 3rd option to try out and go through their demonstration videos to try to pick whichever one I'm going to use.
How many leads and customers do you have?
Customers, I'm on 12. Leads, I can't even track because I was doing them in my head.
Is it less than 1,000?
Way less than 100.
Okay, so Salesforce is out. Like, Salesforce is really for scale, right? So you don't need that. The only options really are Close.io or Intercom, in my opinion. There's also HubSpot. I'm less familiar with it. But honestly, like, what are you trying to? Is there anything that I showed you in Intercom that seemed like something that would solve your problems, or is there something that you didn't see that you are looking for?
I was trying to type out. Because essence, this is what I have, and I finally be able to explain it in terms you can understand.
Cool.
I have 3 basic tiers of people I deal with. I have vendors. Mostly are lawyers, financial advisors, realtors, clean-out crews. Those are the vendors I deal with on a regular basis.
Yep.
Clients, people who hire me to take over their lives and manage their affairs, who I then hire vendors to do those elements of their jobs.
Yep.
Then I have what's known as stakeholders or interested parties. Those are your brothers, your cousins, your neighbors who care what happens to you, that they need to be kept in the loop, but they don't have a direct financial stake. Well, some of them are beneficiaries. So some have financial stakes, some don't, but they still need to be kept in the loop about what's going on with you.
Gotcha.
So I need to link all three of those people inside of what the CRM does and manage my communications across all of the lines.
Yeah, so I think that you could use any CRM tool out there because what you're doing is quite simple.
Well, yeah. Okay. When I can now, like, funny explain it, yeah, but I struggled with explaining what I just told you. It took me like 3 weeks to be able to condense that down to what I just told you.
Yeah, look, it's all an iterative process. I mean, like, Intercom is something that I've been using for well over a year, and it's something that I'm continuing to think of ways to use it in better, smarter, faster ways. So it's impossible to think through like how you want something laid out from the beginning. You kind of have to just start using it, and then you'll say, oh, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could do this, you know? So,
yeah. And I was like, before I start a whole system, that methodology just would like blow my wig back to start that process of just use it to try to figure out to make it work.
Yeah. I mean, I would use it to the extent, like, I wouldn't invest thousands and thousands of dollars and time using a tool, like, if it's not hashed out to some degree. But from what you just told me, I think that you should easily be able to use Intercom to do that. And then you get all the other benefits of Intercom too, like the automated messages or the manual messages to these people. You get, if you have a website, you can put that chat bubble on the website. If you need a help center to answer frequently asked questions, you can do that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of power behind it, and like I said, you can do custom integrations with it. So if you say you want to give leverage like a task, we can do a zap for you where you tag a certain user with a certain tag, and that can generate a checklist for us to execute for you in Process Street.
Okay. That's ultimately what I want to get to, but it was like, how do I set this stuff up on the front end based on what I want to happen on the back end? And I'm getting so many varying opinions because, like I said, I went through 4 VAs on this project since I brought it up with you 2 weeks ago. And I got another meeting, I guess, later on today with, I guess, some specialist for like $80 an hour to help me go through this and understand what it is I'm trying to do. And
who's the specialist that you're going to work with?
Hold on, let me look it up right now, and I'll tell you the guy's name. Oh, hold on, let me go to my phone. I don't need to get off the link.
And sorry, one other important point with Intercom is they have an app. So if people are messaging you on your website or through a Facebook page or through a company text, you can get all of these messages and respond from the Intercom app on your phone.
Yeah, Sean Halston.
Yeah, Sean's great. He'll be able to help you.
Okay, I just got him today. He's like the 4th person I got pushed to. So it was like, other people say, I'm not an expert in that. Let me give you to somebody else. I don't know about that. Let me give you to somebody else. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, look, also, you're in the Slack members community, right? So if you have questions about this stuff too, I've allocated a lot of my time to be able to answer questions personally in that channel for free, well, as part of your membership. So I'm happy to answer questions off the clock in that channel for you.
I'm with you. I guess it's part of this is learning what you don't want to be the asshole, and how do you not cross that line with your specific questions on how to solve.
No, I hear you. We're still in the process. Like, I know that I've been saying now for 2 weeks that we're going to be giving you the recordings of these videos, but Wistia is almost finished setting up. We're going through a process we want to edit the videos because I don't want to, some of these videos, when I share a screen, it might in passing see like a client's name or something. So I need to edit these videos and blur out sensitive information before I put it up there. But if you need, someone to go a bit deeper on how to set up Intercom, I'm happy to make that video, upload it to Wistia, because if you have that question, plenty of other people are going to have that question too.
That makes sense. Because I know this is all new with the changes, you try to be really sensitive not to be the asshole. Like, hey, I'm not getting to the front of the line because I'm screaming the loudest, and I'm trying to be sensitive to that.
I hear you. No, I appreciate it, but I'm happy. It's good that you are voicing like what you want, because it'll help me to generate content for the community.
The thing I guess with Intercom is, and how it all supposed to work together with Process Street, because I got another VA just especially working on Process Street, but doesn't know the CRM world, so they gave me to somebody else. Is that ultimately, like I said, I got 3 tiers of interaction with people, and then they all need to be linked, so that if I look up, like, you're my client, who's your lawyer, who's your accountant, who's your realtor that's connected to you, plus I need to know your mama, your daddy, your cousin, your aunt, and your kids.
So all of those are just attributes on someone's profile. So just how I was showing you, for us, like total revenue or total hours or estimated hours in Toggle, that's specific to what I need for a company. You might have other attributes. So a user in your system, maybe one attribute is who's their lawyer, and that's a field right there, right? What's their lawyer's?
Then I need all the contact information of the lawyer, but a lot of my referrals come from the lawyers and all the vendors. So it's the first tier is to track all that stuff, so I can keep track of what's going. Like, you're my client, then like me managing your life, I have to deal with all the vendors, but ultimately I get new clients from the vendors, not from you, because you're incapacitated in some form. So you're not going to send me to some new client. I have to get that information. So there's a whole nother stream of marketing to my vendors for new work. And right. I need the CRM to do that also. So I need to do both simultaneously.
Yep. Speak with Sean and let's see what how effective he is. I have full confidence in Sean, but also, like I said, I'm happy to make some videos or answer questions in the Slack community for you if you need more help.
And I'm like I said, I finally got an appointment with him later this morning after I think 10, 11 o'clock. That's out the way. So I'm like really happy I could finally get that question answered. And then going through the process of doing Process Street. Mm-hmm. And I'm still wrapping my mind around how to populate Process Street from where. And because I'm struggling with that part of it. I get how it works. I just don't get how to put information into Process Street systematically. How does that work? Where does the origination of that information come from that triggers the cascading effect to do A?
Yeah, so for us, I can share my screen again with you. See my screen?
Yeah.
So in this example for Intercom, when you set up a Zap and the trigger is based on a tag in Intercom, right? So let's say a cancellation request happens. I create a checklist, and all of the variables on that client, like all the data on that client, is accessible to me in Zapier. So I can pass it to Process Street. So I can connect. In Process Street, you have to name the checklist. So I can, as a variable, I can say, give me the username from Intercom and let's make that the checklist name, right? I can say how much toggle time was used. So I can pass that to Process Street because I have it as a variable in Intercom, and I have it as a variable in Intercom because we've connected Intercom to our database. So database goes to Intercom goes to Process Street.
All right. Now, I guess the primary question is, how did you build out your database?
That's like a bigger project, right?
I guess ultimately for me, that's where it's like ultimately I have to I have to replicate what you did. So I got to do the database, then Intercom, then Process Street. So then I got to.
At first, I think you can achieve over 50 to 80% of what you're trying to achieve with just out of the box Intercom.
Okay.
Which is what I would suggest doing before. With anything, I wouldn't just jump out of the gate saying, okay, I'm going to spend $5,000 on this or something. I would try to use it to what you can achieve out of the box. And then if things really start to annoy you, then we'll talk. We can talk in Slack and figure out what kind of custom integrations you need. But
that's fine. I don't know what I don't know. So I know my questions come across like, okay, dude, like.
Well, the first step is just get set up, get the basics in place, and then the fancy stuff with integrations we can help you with down the road.
All right. With setting this stuff up, how much of this stuff is straight importation from Google or Microsoft versus data entry?
You can automatically sync users into Intercom, but you said you have like less than 100, right? Like you have like 10.
I got clients, yeah, but I got a lot of vendors. The bulk of my phone book is vendors who you meet. Hey, I do this. Hey, I do that. Let me keep you in mind.
I think from an Excel spreadsheet, you can import into Intercom.
Okay. I guess that was the second side of it, is like once you get the software, now you got to populate it. And populating it was the thing that was making my head hurt.
They have they're great about their support. So when you install Intercom, the Intercom chat bubble they use for their own support. So I'm all the time asking them questions. Hey, I'm trying to do this. Like, what do I have to do? And they're really quick to respond. So,
all right. And I guess
you could just say to them, hey, I have this Excel file. How do I upload it? And like, we can do it. Or if you're stuck and you need something quick, they'll do it for free.
All right. I guess ultimately the final frontier is with the third party APIs.
Yeah.
Of course, they all work. So if there's some speciality that they don't function in, use some third party to make it all sync together.
Exactly.
I don't even know enough about them to even ask you about third party APIs. I'm still trying to figure out what the first party.
Yeah, get the basics in place.
I'm with you, man. And thank you for taking a few minutes. I know I feel like I don't even have the proper vocabulary to express what I want.
No, not at all. No one else is asking questions right now, so happy to answer yours. Anyone else on the call have some questions, or did you have some more stuff you wanted to ask him?
Well, I guess for me, initially it was to get Process Street and then the CRM updated and running. Though once that's running, it'll answer a lot of my next questions. So that I guess part of it is to track all of the interactions I have with my clients and relative to their vendors, because I report to the court ultimately, and I need to have a lot of my stuff ready. So if I'm ever questioned, why did I do this 6 months or 8 months ago, I have a full transaction record of everything I've done for that client to justify whatever I did. And that, as my client base is growing, that becomes substantially harder to do. When I had like 2 or 3 clients, it was easy. It kept in my head. That is no longer an option. And backtracking all of my steps is now the primary thing, because eventually it's going to become an issue for me.
Gotcha.
And I'm sure that there's fields that capture everything and make it work. I just don't know how to do it yet, or even how to explain how to do it yet.
Well, it takes time. None of this stuff, if it were easy, everyone would have some well-oiled machine.
My field even attempting this. Everybody does it with pen and paper and Excel spreadsheets, and they look at me like I got horns growing out of my head trying to do all this stuff digitally with computers.
Yeah, you're one step ahead, but they're gonna catch up in a year for sure. So they're gonna need to at some point.
Hey man, I wanted to say thank you again, man. I appreciate everything.
No problem. Happy to help. That's what we're here for.
Conversation and all that.
No worries. Brian, Courtney, Paige, Rebecca, phone call listener. Any other questions? No. All right, guys. So see you next week. It's going to be on Process Street, and Blake, head of client success from Process Street, is going to be running that one. All right. Thanks, guys.